In business, there are cultural differences. What are cultural differences? Cultural differences basically refer to the differences in social behaviors that different cultures have around the world, or even on a smaller scale, as in just here in the United States. Culture differences are very important and definitely need to be understood, particularly in a business environment. Before we get into some of the cultural differences that can be problematic, I really want to show that it's very important that cultural differences are taken seriously and understood. Here are some things that would happen if they weren't. In some of these pictures, you will obviously find clear conflict between two or more parties because their culture does not do the same things that other cultures may do. And when you don't realize that what you might think is okay is not okay to another culture, there can be a huge problem there. You can almost be offending the other culture. So you can see understanding the variations between different cultures is really important to effectively run and maintain a business environment. Now we are going to get into some examples of these differences in business environments and how you can effectively deal with them to create a diverse and effective business environment. The first cultural difference we are going to be discussing is sharing or not sharing information. Many cultures love to share personal information about themselves and their families with coworkers. Some are much more hesitant to do so. How much is too much? It's depending on who you're asking. One group that loves to talk about themselves is the Latino group. They actually love to socialize in general, so they would also ask colleagues questions about their personal lives as well. They are very caring and they expect others to care as well. So this could be a problem if you did not know this and you had a Latino coworker and you were not engaging them on a personal, sociable level. They would probably feel isolated and unimportant. It's good to understand this cultural difference so that way you can make sure that you are respecting them and communicating in a way that makes sense to them. Another cultural difference is language. It's not just necessarily the language that you speak, such as Spanish or French, but how it is spoken. In countries like the United States and Germany, people tend to speak loudly and be more assertive and aggressive when they share ideas or are directing people. Whereas when you take a country like Japan or other Asian countries, people are more soft-spoken and make more suggestions and share more ideas and are more passive about it. It's important that when you interact with people from these different cultures, that you speak in a neutral tone and are considerate of their input, even if they give it to you in a manner that you are not used to, so that you can help make business communication effective and diverse. Other cultural differences include giving suggestions. Some cultures are not very keen on giving suggestions just because it is not the norm where they are at. In the U.S., it's very important to give suggestions and it is welcomed. Another variation for different cultures is recognition. Many Latin America countries do not ask for anything and wait to be recognized, whereas in the U.S., if you want to advance, it is typical to go forth and ask. So many things are really different depending on where you are at. This is why it is so important to understand all of these differences so that you can better communicate with these people at your workplace. This will help make everything more effective and will add diversity to our work environment. Diversity is very important because our country, our jobs, schools, and businesses are increasingly consisting of different cultures, racial, and ethnic groups. It's really important that we can learn from one another, and we must have an understanding about each other so we can communicate effectively. This will bring about unity and peace. Now that we have covered ground on cultural differences, I encourage you to keep educating yourself on all that there is to learn about. Links have been provided for you to gather more information at your leisure. Thank you for watching.